Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we turn confusing financial jargon into plain English. And today we're diving into a report that might just be as exciting as watching paint dry, but stick with us because there might be a hidden gem or two, or maybe just some really solid corporate plumbing news. Alright, so what we have here is a peek behind the curtain at investors' title companies' recent performance. They put out a report covering their financial results up to June 30th of 2025. Now, when we usually dig into these kinds of filings, we're looking for big shifts, exciting growth, or maybe some juicy drama. So let's see what Investors Title Company has in store for us. They are reporting on their financial condition and results of operations. First off, let's look at how the company is structured. They have common stock, which is pretty standard for most businesses. This is essentially the ownership stake most people think about when they hear about a company's stock. Then there's something a bit more specific. Rights to purchase Series A, junior participating preferred stock. Now that's a mouthful, but essentially it means they have a special type of stock that gives certain rights to those who hold it, especially if the company does something significant with preferred stock. Think of it like a special club membership with unique privileges within the company's ownership structure. The date of this report is August 6, 2025, so we're looking at pretty fresh data. And the earliest event reported is also August 6, 2025. This confirms they are releasing information very close to the reporting date. The ticker symbol for Investors Title Company is ITIC. This is the symbol you'd use to find their stock on the stock market, specifically on the Nasdaq Stock Market LLC. The main piece of information here is a press release detailing their financial results for what's called the fiscal quarter, which ended on June 30, 2025. This is where the juicy stuff usually is, the actual numbers that tell us how they're doing. Now, this particular filing doesn't give us a deep dive into specific numbers like revenue or profit directly within this document itself. Instead, it's pointing us to that press release, Exhibit 99.1, as the source for that detailed financial information. So while this 8K is the official notification, the real meaty financial numbers are in that attached press release. We'll be focusing on what that press release tells us we can infer here. Think about what this means. Companies issue these reports to the SEC, which is like the government's watchdog for financial markets, to keep investors informed. By filing this Form 8K, Investors Title Company is telling everyone, hey, we've got some new financial results to share. The fact that they're providing this information via a press release means they're likely trying to communicate their performance to a broader audience, including investors, analysts, and the general public, in a clear and understandable way. It's a way to control the narrative and highlight their achievements or explain any less than stellar results. The language used, like shall not be deemed filed, is important legal phrasing. It means that while they are providing this information, they're being careful about how it's officially recorded by the SEC. It's a bit technical, but it's about managing their legal liabilities and how this information is interpreted in future SEC filings. Now let's talk about the exhibits. Exhibit 99.1 is that press release we've been mentioning, which contains the financial results. Exhibit 4 is the cover page interactive data file, which is basically a machine-readable version of the report's cover page, increasingly common for easier data processing by the SEC and investors. This form is also asking if Investors Title Company is an emerging growth company. This is a designation for newer companies that allows them some flexibility in reporting. However, the filing indicates they are not an emerging growth company. Looking at the signature section, we see James A. Fine Jr., who holds multiple important roles: President, Principal Financial Officer, and Principal Accounting Officer. This tells us who is ultimately responsible for the accuracy of the financial information being reported. It's quite common for a few key executives to sign off on these important documents as they have the ultimate oversight. Let's think about the context of Investors Title Company. What do they actually do? As the name suggests, they are likely involved in the title insurance business, which is directly related to real estate transactions. They ensure that the property a buyer is purchasing is free from any claims against it, protecting both the buyer and the lender. This business is heavily influenced by the real estate market, interest rates, and overall economic health. When we look at these reports, especially in 8K that references financial results, we're really trying to gauge the health and direction of the company. Are they growing? Are they profitable? What are the key drivers of their business? In a company like Investors Title, performance can be very cyclical, tied to the ebb and flow of property sales. A hot real estate market means more transactions and therefore more business for title insurance companies. Conversely, a slowdown in housing can impact their revenue and profitability. So even though this particular filing is a bit of a pointer to another document for the detailed numbers, the very act of reporting and the structure of the company itself tells us a story. It's a company operating in a specific sector with specific types of ownership shares and managed by key executives. The critical insights, however, will come from that linked press release, which we'd analyse for revenue growth, profitability margins, claims paid, retention rates, and how these metrics compare to industry benchmarks and their own historical performance. Without those specific numbers, it's hard to definitively say if investors' title company is thriving, just surviving, or facing significant headwinds, but the framework is here and it's all about how the real estate market is treating them. Now, to give you my take on investors' title company based on the limited information here, it's difficult to provide a precise financial assessment without the actual numbers from the press release. However, the filing itself indicates a company that is established, as it's not an emerging growth company, and has a clear structure with common and preferred stock. The fact they are issuing an 8K specifically to report financial results shows they are actively communicating their status to the market. The risks for a company like this are primarily tied to the real estate market's volatility. A downturn in housing sales, rising interest rates that cool the market, or an increase in title claims due to undiscovered property issues could all negatively impact their performance. On the other hand, a strong and active real estate market coupled with efficient claims management and potentially diversification into related financial services could present opportunities for growth. In conclusion, while this report doesn't give us the dollar figures, it sets the stage for understanding investors' title companies' corporate structure and their commitment to transparency with their shareholders. To truly assess their health, we'd need to see those financial results and compare them to their previous performance and the industry landscape. Alright, that's our breakdown of this investors' title company filing. What's your take on what we've seen so far, and what are you looking for in their financial results? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this analysis useful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deconstructed corporate documents. And don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description for more in-depth discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.